You've got to admit, that's a pretty fitting name for a video that's about to advertise binary options. But this isn't one of those. You've probably noticed the scenery has changed a bit. I'm in a beautiful city right now. It's amazing. And it hit me. I should film one of the most useful videos that could possibly be on my channel. It's about how to actually manage your own budget. And about the fact that people are completely clueless about how to do it. They don't use a rational approach to their money, and that is why they live in crappy, run-down apartments for their entire lives, even when they're making a decent salary. I know so many people who earn way more than me, 2, 3, even 5 times as much, but they can't afford the things I buy. And it blows their minds. Why? Because I follow a few simple principles that let me save a ton of money. This video isn't about how to spend money. It's about how not to. I'm just going to tell you the principles I live by. But first, a quick, very educational story. The other day, I walk out of McDonald's with a full bag of food. I'm standing there, waiting for my Uber, and next to me, there's a pretty sweet-looking old lady. She's holding her hand out, begging for money. I look at her, and I felt bad. I decided in that moment, I'm giving her whatever's in my pocket. I never give money to beggars, but this time it got to me. I reach in, pull out a bill. It was like a $10 bill. For me, that's not, a huge amount. For her, it's much more important. I give her the bill. At first, she doesn't believe it. It's a lot of money. She thanks me, and then, what does she do? She runs into the McDonald's, and she spends that entire $10 bill on fast food. I was standing there thinking, for that much money, she could have bought 10 bags of rice. She could have bought fruits, vegetables, enough to eat for a week. But no, she ran straight into McDonald's. And it seems to me that this exact attitude towards money is what led her to this life. Standing on a street corner with her hand out. For most people, food is the lion's share of their expenses. For me, it's the least of my worries. Because I use a principle. Principle number 1. The ratio of price to satiety. For most people, the ratio is price to taste. That is wrong. I look at food as a resource for survival. Just to not die. For most people, food is the meaning of life. That's wrong. It's always important to me that the food I buy is worth every penny I spent on it. When I see some guy buying a tiny Kit Kat bar or a Snickers, I just think, that is a terrible deal. It's small, it will never make you full. Yeah, okay, it tastes fine. But you eat it. And that brings me to the second principle. You eat it and you forget it. You have to treat food as a non-renewable resource. You ate today, but tomorrow you've forgotten about it. But the money? The money's gone. I love sushi. It is by far the worst value for money that exists. But whatever, I like it. It's hard to go against your taste sometimes. But when I go to a sushi bar, I don't order some black dragon roll that costs a ridiculous amount of money. I order kappa maki, rice, avocado, cucumber. Because if I spend a ton of money on some fancy Philadelphia roll today, tomorrow the money will be gone. Sashimi, that tiny bleep scrap of rice with a sliver of fish on top that looks like a fingernail. And it costs $5. One bite and it's gone. You see what I'm saying? The price should be tied to satiety, not to taste. Oh, but you only live once. You should eat well. I have a different view on life. I eat buckwheat. I eat pasta. I eat rice. It's cheap, it's filling, and it's healthy. So, change your value system and you will get rich. Treat money like an investment. Food, clothes, entertainment. These are all non-liquid assets. Food rots. Clothes wear out. What's left tomorrow? Nothing. There are a ton of cafes and restaurants around here, but I'm going to the most basic cafeteria. Because I need to eat, get full, and, honestly, it's pretty good. Objectively, I could eat at any restaurant in this city. Any of them. But I went to a normal cafeteria and got normal, home-style food that's filling and cheap. This whole meal cost me like $5. It's going to be tasty, healthy, and a good value. Clothes. I spend next to nothing on them. I've been wearing this hoodie for 5 years. I think I stole it from my brother. I bought these pants at a street market for $10, maybe 2 years ago. My sneakers? It's better if you don't see them. People who have an alternative view of wardrobes. I think they're bleep. Go ahead. Buy your bleep sneakers for $500. Nobody gives a shit. No one in the crowd is going to look at you. They spend $200 on Levi's when they make $2,000 a month. Thinking they'll look cool? Nobody gives a shit. No one will notice. Your designer jeans look exactly the same as the ones from the market. Ask yourself this. Have you ever been on the subway, looked at some guy's jacket and thought, wow, that must be an expensive jacket. Bet that cost $1,000. No, you don't give a damn about his jacket. But he spent a ton of money on it. He probably spent a ton of time picking it out. And nobody cares. I've been wearing these sneakers for a year. I'm not even sure they're real. And I'm fine with that, because I understand that if I don't buy new sneakers this month, and I don't buy them next month, eventually, I'll be able to fly to America. I don't find it humiliating that I dress like a hobo. My sneakers are old, my jacket is old. I've had this hat for like 3 or 4 years. I walk into an electronics store. The salesman comes up to me. He's got the rolled up jeans, the Nikes, the big chunky cardigan, the watch. And I say, yeah, I'll take that laptop, the $2,000 one. And he's bleep floored. And I'm even more floored, because he could also afford it if he didn't spend all his money on that crap. But, host's name, what do you spend your money on? The lion's share of my expenses? Travel. But for me, travel isn't a way to relax or unwind. For me, it's a chance to grab a piece of civilization, to take that chunk and bring it back with me. It's a chance to get inspired, to learn something. I'm educating myself, in other words, and I don't care if this pisses people off, but Europe is the center of human civilization. This city behind me isn't European. It just got stuck there for a bit. And look at it. Cars. I love cars. I get aesthetic pleasure from them. I could have bought a car long ago, but I didn't, because it's not a good value. I did the math. Gas, parking, insurance, maintenance, oil, bleep, all of it. Then I calculated what it would cost to take an Uber everywhere for that same period. And I realized, Uber is way, way cheaper. I went against my own desires. What guy doesn't want a car? You know, pick up girls. Look cool. Your cred with the guys goes up instantly. But I realized, I don't need that. A huge part of saving money is just conviction. Willpower. You have to force yourself to stop wanting the thing you want right now. It's hard, but nobody said the path to wealth was easy. Accounting. This is the most important part of the video. Every single penny has to be accounted for. My mom's an economist by education. She never worked as one, but she taught me. You have to count every penny. A penny saved is a penny bleep earned, right? And you have to, literally, write down every single cent. Not in a notebook. There's a ton of apps for this. For iOS, MoneyFlow is good. For Android, I personally use CoinKeeper. These apps let you categorize all your spending. And no, this isn't an ad. And even if it was, you can FSEK off. I'm not recommending some free-to-play mobile game. I'm recommending a useful app I actually use. So FSK off with your, it's an ad comments. I take a taxi. I write it down, -$5. I eat at a cafe. I write it down, -$10. At the end of the month, I have an exact map of my spending. This lets me do a deep analysis of where I can cut back, so that later I can buy something really cool. The main thing is to force yourself to do it. It's like morning stretches, except you can skip the stretches. You cannot skip tracking your expenses. Guys, just force yourselves. Do it. You eat a pastry from a food stand? Write it down. You spent 50 cents on the bus? Write it down. Don't disrespect small amounts of money. What's 50 cents? Who cares? I was at a store buying a computer. I was 20 cents short. I asked the cashier, "I'm buying a $2,000 computer," and they wouldn't let it go. They made me go change a larger bill. As most of my friends' incomes grow, they lose respect for small amounts of money. That is fundamentally wrong. If an advertiser sends me money for an ad and the transfer fee is $2, I make them send me that $2. Because $2 is a meal. I always demand my change, no matter how small. People call me a cheapskate, a miser. I call them idiots. I'm calculating. There's a difference. So what's the point of living if not to enjoy today? The point is to enjoy tomorrow. Today you save. They spend. Tomorrow you buy what they can't. To be rich, it's not enough to make a lot of money. You have to know how to spend it correctly. Now, the question you've all been wondering this whole video: so what should I spend money on? It's extremely simple. Education, health, real estate. Seems like a short list, right? But trust me, if you actually spend on those 3 things, you won't have any money left for anything else. It pisses me off. This bleep human nature. To eat amazing food in restaurants, to vacation in Dubai and Egypt, to drive a bleep car, and at the same time, live in some Thole town in a stinking crappy apartment for your entire life. Change your value system. It doesn't matter what you're eating or where you're driving. It matters what surrounds you. Thanks for watching. Please like if you found this helpful, leave a comment, be sure to subscribe, and share this video. You can find useful links in the video or channel description. See you soon.